Yo, what's happening? Good morning. It's about 6:30 a.m. January 20th, Monday morning. Today is the inauguration, ain't it? Martin Luther King birthday today too? I think. I don't be keeping up with these holidays like that. I should know. But yeah, man, I just came from the yard, man. Went to go check on my baddie real quick. You know what I mean? See if she was doing okay. I'm talking about my truck. That's what I'm talking about, my truck. Cause your truck, man. If you got one, if you ever think about getting one, that's gonna be the baddest bitch you ever dealt with. Yeah, what these chicks be talking about on the internet today, man, ain't got nothing. Ain't got nothing on one of these trucks. Them the real baddies right there. Real baddies. But no, man, I went up this morning, man, because I ain't got to leave out till like later on this evening. But I just happened to be up. I had got up at 12 midnight. Went to the gym. I had all this planned, but I had to go to I wanted to go to the yard to just see if my truck would start, because it's cold as hell. My thermometer right now is saying 0 degrees, so I wanted to make sure and see if my truck started. And it did. It did. So I went on ahead and put some diesel treatment in my tanks, and should be good when I go back later on. But yeah, man, it's neither here nor there, man. You ain't nothing but a truck driver. You ain't nothing but a truck driver, man. You know what's funny? When I first came in the industry, and even in times past before that, like, man, trucking was never no industry to where it just had that prestige about it that made people tell youngers, hey, you need to get off in the trucking. You need to get off in the trucking. Like, the only people who probably knew about trucking in times past, especially before, like before I came in, was people who had family, or people who had people who was close to people that was in trucking. Or if you came up in a trucking family, but trucking wasn't never nothing that was promoted to us to go be, even coming up out of high school. Most people, they think about going to the next level, they thinking about going to college. Nobody was talking about being a trucker, man. And I know for me, I ain't really had too many examples putting me on to trucking. I got an uncle. I do have an uncle who drive. I don't know if he still drive, but I know at one point in time, from the early 90s, my uncle drove locally for one of these beverage companies. I don't know if it was 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, or what. But he drove locally. That's all he ever drove. And but what I knew him for the most was doing real estate. You know what I'm saying? He rehabbed cribs. He was always good with his hands. So, but he never was putting shit about trucking in our ear. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never said shit about his driving. We knew he did it, but he ain't never encouraged us to do that shit. So he definitely wasn't no shining star example of getting in the truck. And then we had a family, my parents, we got a family friend, cat named Mike, old Mike. But Mike been around since before I was born. I think Mike used to go with one of my aunties before my time. So, but yeah, Mike was close with our family though. And I remember in the late 90s, yeah, somewhere between the mid and the late 90s is when Mike had got into trucking. And when he used to come off the road, he stopped by the crib, and used to be able to pick up on some of his stories about being on the road. But I remember when he first started, he told us a story about his trainer. And he was like, I'll never forget. I still remember this shit in my head to this day. But he was like, yeah, man, my trainer, man, when we used to stop at the truck stop, we go to the bathroom. He used to wash his hands, but he never washed his ass. Yeah, so he used to come back home, tell us little shit about trucking and shit like that, man. But one thing I remember about Mike, man, it seemed like he used to complain a lot about trucking. But at the time, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing about this shit. So it just seemed like he used to complain a lot. And, yeah, man, eventually, he didn't really go too far with trucking. I mean, I think he stayed in trucking for some years, man, but I don't know. I just remember in my early 20s, somewhere in the early 2000s, I ran into him at a gas station, man, and he was asking me, did I know where to get a dub of crack from? So I guess by that time, man, trucking was over with for him. So he wasn't never no good example for me to get into trucking. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I would have got into trucking early if I would have had a greater example, somebody more successful, putting me on the trucking. But I didn't have no good examples. Me coming into trucking was strictly me. Even when I came into trucking, even the content that I was looking at, YouTube content ain't never pulled me into one of the, a lot of people has been inspired by YouTube content to get into trucking, but I wasn't inspired by YouTube content. I was already coming into trucking. I had already tried to get into trucking between 2010 and 2011. But the few companies that I had called, they told me that shit I had on my record, it had to been 10 years prior before I'm able to apply. So I didn't really put no pressure towards getting into the trucking industry no more after that. And yeah, that was that. Well, you know what, actually, yeah, what led me up to calling those companies is, I had got laid off from one casino that I worked at in 2010. And you got to go to Work One. Out here in Indiana, it's called Work One. I don't know what it's called where y'all live at, but basically that's the organization that handle your unemployment, and help you find employment, all that different type of stuff. So yeah, I had to go to Work One, and in the process for getting my unemployment and all that, I was trying to find I was trying to find something new to get into, and truck driving looked appealing to me. So I don't know, I set something up through them, and was scheduled to go to this trucking school in South Bend, Indiana. So I went to the trucking school, but I was only there for 2 days, because the first day, they telling us about trucking and everything that come along with it, and the positive things about trucking. And once you make it through school, and you're gonna have companies, these specific companies lined up to hire you. So the first day I was geeked, like hell yeah, I was really in for it. And the second day they got to talking about money, and I didn't understand how this shit went. I didn't know that you had to pay. I didn't know that you had to pay for school. I'm thinking like, well, Work One sent me here to get employment. I'm thinking this shit is on the house. Like, y'all trying to help me find a job. Hell no. They got to talk about tuition fees and all this. And if you ain't got the cash, do you have a cosigner and all this type of shit? So when they got to breaking all that down, I had to bounce. Cause I for damn sure ain't had no cosigner. So yeah, that didn't work out too good. But when we was there, you know what I'm saying, them first 2 days that I went, or those first days that I went, I remember them telling us about Warner, Swift, CR England. So even when I had left that class, I tried to call those companies and get on with them through them, see if I can get on with their training program. And yeah, they wouldn't hire me because of some shit I had on my record from 2007. This is 2010, 2011 at the time. So yeah, I've been trying to get in trucking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just funny, man, how trucking is now. It's more appealing. It's more sexy. You know, trucking is the lick. It seemed like the lick for a lot of people. Man, I remember when I told my pops I was going to get into trucking when I first came in. And I just remember my pops being like, man, huh? You want to be a truck driver? Why you want to do that? You want to be a truck driver? You know what I'm saying? I remember this was a few years ago, man. Some of y'all might be familiar with Wack 100. You know, his name be ringing all through the internet, through being involved in all type of shit. But I remember Wack 100 got into it with Spice One. People my age, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, you know, that's in the rap and shit, they know who Spice One is. But for those who don't know, Spice One is a legendary rapper from somewhere in the Bay in California. Been around since the early 90s. So Wack 100 had said some slick shit about Pac, Tupac. And you know, Spice One ain't like that shit because him and Pac used to be tight. So they got into it. And mind you, you know what I'm saying, Wack 100, I don't know if he's still doing it now, but I know at one point in time he was in trucking. He had a few trucks. I don't know if he had his own authority or if he had some trucks leased on to a company, but he was in trucking during his time or at one point in time. So they got videos going back and forth talking shit or whatnot. And I just remember one video, Spice One, Spice One going off in the phone. You know what I'm saying? He going off on this nigga. And he like, you truck driving ass nigga. Man, I cracked up, man. I watched that shit like 5 times, cracking up. And guess what I was doing when he said that? Truck driving. You truck driving ass nigga. But that's just another example of how people feel about truck driving. It was never nothing glamorous or prestigious. You see how that man try to discredit, you know, whatever, besides whatever they beef was, he still used truck driving as an insult to try to discredit that man. Like this is the bottom of the barrel shit to be doing. Yeah, truck driving never was appealing. It never was the industry that people was encouraged to get into. You know, I'm familiar with Brazil. You know what I mean? I go to Brazil a lot. I've been going there for the past 4-5 years. So I'm familiar with, you know, a lot about their culture. And it's funny out there, man, they look at truck drivers the same way people here in America would look at janitors. You know, and no disrespect to people in the custodial field, nothing like that. But, you know, I'm saying, you know, you tell a chick in Brazil, you meet a chick in Brazil and you tell her you a truck driver, man, she might not even want to fuck with you no more, man. Cause you know, they truck driving industry is different from ours, man. Like, for number one, they don't make the type of money that we make here in the United States. You know, at least here in the United States, more people know that the trucking field can be a decent field for people to provide for themselves, provide for their family, and take advantage and build upon opportunities. It's more, like I say, trucking was never glamorous or prestigious, but it is more people here in the United States that hold trucking in a higher regard than people would in like a place like Brazil. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, trucking, yeah, obviously you can see just all around, man, people ain't really fuck with trucking like that, man. But today, it's the thing to do. It's the hottest thing to do, man. It's all the hustle. It's the lick. It's the hustle. It's a new way to be a star. You know, One video I touched on the thirst trap, and the thirst trappers ain't the only ones that's blowing this up. The thirst trappers ain't the only ones blowing up trucking. You know, it's crazy how the day house is just looked upon as a sexy field. You know, you hear a lot more people outside of trucking talking about trucking. You know, people investing in trucking. You know, I know Lil Durk, I don't know if he had a trucking company or a truck, but I know he had his hands and he had some money investing in trucking. I don't know how that was going. You know, I heard somebody had mentioned the cats from EYL from Earn Your Leisure, for, you know, the black investment platform. That they had invested in a truck. But from what I heard, they trucking endeavor failed. And I can kind of see, if that's the case, I can kind of see why. I can see why, because a lot of people think they just gonna sprinkle money in trucking. And they just finna make this residual passive income and create this generational wealth off trucking. I don't see it that way. Can you create passive income in trucking? Yeah. But that's gonna kind of take time, ain't it? You know, because just to be somebody on the outside of trucking, throwing money in trucking, you still got to be all in. You can't just throw a specific amount of money and just be like, okay, that's it, now I'm going to expect passive income. Like, nah, you still got to have reserves put up. You still got to have reserves put up for when shit go wrong with your investment. It's a continuous thing. You have to have ongoing operational reserves. You can't just throw a couple dollars in trucking and just sit back and get income. I remember at one point in time, this was like a couple years ago, I forgot, and this ain't the shit on her at all, you know what I'm saying? But I forgot this woman's name. It was a sister, but she had a company. This was before I became an owner op. But she had a company that people on the outside of trucking could invest in. So you invest what, I don't know what it was, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a person can invest. Get them a truck. I guess she had to plug with whatever company to be able to get them a truck and a driver, and they just sit back and collect passive income. Now, before I became an owner op, because I seen people around in this space talking about it, and basically everybody that I seen talking about it was giving that whole idea a thumbs down. People really wasn't fucking with it or buying it. But I was listening to it, you know what I'm saying? I ended up finding out who she was, and I was hearing her out. Heard the business proposition, you know what I'm saying? Before I became an owner operator, this shit was kind of making sense to me. Like, well, damn. I was thinking, well, maybe I should put a couple, you know what I'm saying? Put some money down with her. Get a truck rolling. But now, after some time, after I've been an owner op, I'm just wondering how that shit really go. Is that business still up and running? Is that a real business model? You know what I mean? Because to just throw some money in trucking and expect passive income, I don't really see it. Unless you somebody who really put in the work to build your fleet. You know what I'm saying? You put the team, and you got the people in place to where you could, you know, through time, slowly separate yourself from being hands-on with the business, and you have a trusted team or people that you can trust to handle your shit, to where now, yeah, you can focus on other things, and the money that you're getting from trucking is passive and everything is taking care of itself. You know what I'm saying? Because your shit been established. But I don't know, man. Just coming in, just throwing a couple dollars in trucking and expecting some passive income. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but from what I'm seeing, from what I've experienced and how I realized how this shit go, even if you don't plan on driving and you investing in trucking, man, you got to be financially all in with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. But trucking has become the lick for a lot of people, man, especially since that damn COVID. Ever since that damn COVID, man, trucking been the lick. It's been the lick. Yeah. So it is what it is, man. I still rock with the trucking. You know, trucking is for anybody to get into. It ain't really too much that can be gate kept, you know. Get in the trucking and find your own way and make it do what it gotta, you know, make it do what it do, man. It is what it is. Everything is changing. Change is inevitable. And that's something that I accept in life. You know, just like I said before, man, I follow the wisdom of Bruce Lee, flow like water. And that's how I'm going to keep it going. You know, I know shit is changing. You know, I love trucking. I rock with trucking, but I know there are things that are going to be changing in the future that I'm not going to like about trucking. So I'm already mentally and getting myself prepared and just switching up how I move in a sense, moving forward into the future. And, you know, but, yeah, man. Old trucking, man. You ain't shit but a truck driver. Old truck driving ass nigga. You truck driving ass nigga. Hey, y'all be out, man. I mean, y'all be good, man. I'm out.